Hi friends, today we will see how to create a contract in EVA ERP. So there are two types of contract that you can create in EVA ERP. An AMC contract with the payment terms and the quick contract without the payment terms. So if the contract that you want to create contains more than one payment terms, we recommend you to use the contract option. And if the contract have only one payment term, which is 100% in advance, use quick contract. Generally, we recommend to use the quick contract in case of residential customers. And there are 4 different ways we can create a contract in EVA ERP. 1 is directly from the contract screen, 2 from the customer screen, 3 from the lead screen, and 4 from the quotation screen. So we are going to see all of these 4 ways to create a contract one by one. So let's start with the first way, which is from the contract screen. So first I'll have to get to the contract screen. So I'll have to click on the service module here on the top, then on the service menu, and then on the contract menu from the list. So this is the screen where you will be creating your contract. So let's start with the first section, customer information. So in the first row, same like quotation, we'll have to enter the customer detail for which this contract is being created. So let's say I have a commercial customer and I'm creating a contract for them. So the name of my customer is Midas Industries Private Limited. So I'll just simply select the name given in the suggestion. So I'll have all the customer information here. So next 2 rows, second and third, contains the reference information for this contract. So when we save this document after filling all the information, a system will assign it a unique ID. So that ID will be mapped here. Next is the lead ID. So if this contract is being created from the lead screen, that lead ID will get mapped here. And same, if this contract is being created from the quotation screen, the quotation ID will get printed here. Next, the reference 1, the reference number 1, reference date, reference number 2, and referred by. So these are the 4 fields where you can put any legacy information that you want to carry as a reference for this contract. It could be the contract number and the date from your older system. Next is the previous order ID. So if we renew a certain contract, the previous contract's ID will get mapped here and the status of that renewal will be updated here. The contract start date and the contract end date. So once we save this contract, the start date and end date will get mapped here. Premise under contract. Here we can enter the premise which is under the contract. So let's say that I'm creating a contract for Midas Industries Private Limited for the rodent management service, and the premises for the contract will be parking lot and backyard. Okay, so moving towards the next section, which is documents. So here, same as lead and quotation screen, you can upload the terms and condition for the contract. So it's an option. Next section is the sales information. So here you will provide the sales related information for this contract. First, and the mandatory field, which is branch. So under which branch this contract is being created. Next, salesperson, the person who is handling this customer. This is also a mandatory field. Next, the payment method. So if you know what is the payment method for this contract or how the customer is going to pay, you can pre-configure and select any one of those options from the list, or you can keep it blank as well. so I'm going to keep it blank. Next is the approver name, which is a mandatory field. So same like quotation screen, we can select the name of a person who is going to approve this contract, without which we cannot proceed. So let's say I'm going to approve it myself. So I'm selecting my name here. Next is the contract group. So I have created two groups, AMC and single service. So if this is an AMC contract, which means that this contract's validity is for 1 year, I can select it AMC, and if it is a one-time service, I can simply select a single service option from here. So let's say this is a 1 year service contract, so I'm selecting the AMC option from the group. Next is the category, so whether it's a commercial customer or a residential customer. So I'll select the commercial option here. Next is the contract type, and we'll select the office here. Next and mandatory field is contract date. Here you can select the start date of your contract, or you can say the creation date of your contract as well. So by default it will pick up today's date, but it allows you to create backdated contracts as well. So I'll keep it the same. Next is the credit period. It's the same as we have seen in the quotation screen. So next, approve and rejection remark. So if I have selected my reporting managers or any senior's name in the approver name here, and if I send this document for their approval, and if they find anything which is not right and they want me to change it, so on the approval screen they will get a field where they can put the rejection remark, the reason for which they are rejecting the approval. That reason will get printed here, so that the person who is requesting for the approval will know the remarks and he will make changes accordingly. Next is the number range. So suppose if I have multiple branches, if the EVA Software Solutions have multiple branches and this contract is to be created under one of their branch, and I'll select the branch name from this option. So let's say if this contract is being created under Mumbai branch, so I'll select the Mumbai here from the number range. So we can pre-configure the number ranges here. So all of these 4 branches, the number range can start with a different digit. Let's say if I select Delhi, the order ID that will get assigned to this contract may start with 2 or any specific number that I want. And if it is for Gujarat, it could be 3, accordingly 4 and 5. So just looking at the order ID, I can identify from which branch this contract is being created. So let's stick to the Mumbai option. Next is the technician name. On the contract itself, you can assign a technician to this contract who will provide the services to this customer. So it's an option. Next is the description. So any additional information that you want to provide with this contract can be typed in this box, and this will get printed on the contract in terms and condition box. Next, products. So as we have discussed previously, and as we have, next is the product section. So here we will provide the product information for this contract. So as we have already said that I'm going to create a contract for this customer for the rodent services. So I'm selecting the monthly rodent service. So I'll add. So that will add that product here below in the table. So now I know that the contract duration is 365 days. Today is the start date of the contract, and after 365 days this contract will end. You can edit these fields as well. So the fields which are marked with the hashtag are editable. So you can edit this field. So if this contract is only for 1 month, I can simply type in 30 here. So that makes this contract valid for only 1 month. So since I'm creating a contract for 1 year, I'll put here as 365 as a contract duration. The total number of services that I'm going to provide during the contract is 12 because it's a monthly service. Next is the price. I will change. So let's say I'm offering or I'm giving this service to this customer for 5,000 rupees. So I'll make the change and I'll hit the enter button. So all I can see here, the change is reflecting. I'll just check with the taxes once before proceeding. So I'll just scroll it to the right. Okay, I can see the taxes selected correctly. Okay, so I'll just check the contract once before I save it. So I can see the 5,000 is the amount that I'm offering them, and including taxes, the payable amount will be 5,900 rupees. So the next section is the payment terms detail. So in this section, we will provide the payment term details of this contract, same as we did in quotation. So if the payment terms are evenly distributed, for example, the monthly payments, the quarterly payments, half yearly payments, or the 100% advance payment, we can have them pre-configured in the payment terms drop down here. And if the payment terms are divided in odd manner, let's say if the customer is paying 60% of the contract amount as an advance and remaining 40% is going to be paid after the 30 days of the contract, so I'll have to enter it manually here. So let's say with this customer we have settled down to a payment term which is going to be quarterly payment. So there are going to be 4 payments after each 3 months. So I'll select the quarterly option, which is pre-configured. I'll start it from the start period of the contract. I'll have to check this box. So if you want to set the payment date for this contract as well, you can enter it here, or you can keep it blank as well, as this is an option. So I'll click on add now. So this creates the 4 payment terms in the contract. So remember, the number of payment terms that you are defining in the contract are the exact number of bills that will create. So for this contract, you will have 4 bills with the 25% of the total contract amount on each. So I have all the necessary and mandatory information filled in for this contract. So I'll just simply click on the save button here on the top. Data successfully saved. Now you can see there is a unique order ID assigned to this contract. Now the status of this contract is created. Before submitting it or before approving the contract, we'll just check it on the print once. So I'll click on the print option here. I'll select no. I'll maximize the screen. So this is the PDF copy of your contract, where you can find all the details that we have entered on the contract screen, such as the date of the contract, the contract period, type of contract, customer details, product details, billing terms, taxation, and the banking details. So if everything is right in this contract, we can submit it and we can change the status to approved. We will simply have to click on the submit option here. So now you can see once I have clicked on the submit option, it changed the status of the contract to approved. Let's check with the print one more time. So if I click on the print option now, and I'll maximize the screen, so you can see the draft watermark is gone now. So this is the final copy of your contract, which you can attach to a mail and send to the customer, or you can have it mailed directly from the EVA ERP by clicking on this email button on the upper right corner of the screen. Now, as we have submitted this contract, it allows us to access all these information on the top. So if I want to check with the services, so in the product group we have offered them 12 services during this contract period. So if I click on view service option, it will show me all the services created for this contract. And if I want to process the bill for this contract for the first payment terms, we have chosen the quarterly payment term for this contract. So if I click on the view bill button, it should show me 4 separate billing documents which I can send to the customer. We will see them in the billing part. So now let's move towards the second method to create a contract, which is from the customer screen. So I'll click on the home button here. So I'm back to the home screen. So it is same as we did in the quotation video. So we'll have to first pull up the customer. So I'll click on service and then customer. So I'll search or I'll pull up the customer for which the contract I want to create. So let's say Midas Industries Private Limited. So I clicked on go and I will select the customer. So I have an option here on the top, the third button here, which says create order. So if I click on this button, it will directly take me to the contract screen. So now we just have to fill in the remaining information for this contract and we can save and proceed, that we have seen previously. In the same way, the third method where we are going to create contract from lead. So I'll just have to go to the lead screen, service module, service menu, and then lead. So I'll just have to pull up the created lead. So I'll pull up the same lead which we created for our video for Rahul Tiwari. So I'll search for his name. I'll click on go. So I have his lead here. So in this lead, I have provided information about the product as well. So this should also go. So let's see. So I'll click on the create order button here on the top. So it took me directly to the contract screen. I have all the customer information that is mapped here on the contract screen. I have all the information which was given or which was provided on the lead, the branch, salesperson, the contract category and contract type directly mapped to the contract here. All the other details will be the same as we have seen earlier, and you can proceed with this contract. So you just have to fill in the remaining information required for the contract or which is mandatory for the contract, and you can hit the save button and then you can submit the contract. Now the last method to create the contract, which is from the quotation. So I'll pull up the quotation which we created in our last session. So I'm on the quotation screen. I go to the search option. I'll search it with the customer's name directly, or if you know, I'll hit go. So this is the lead. I'll hit go. So this is the quotation that we created in our last session. So I have a button here on the top which says create contract. So if I click on it, it will directly take me to the contract screen. So these are the 4 ways from which you can create a contract in EVA ERP. So same as in lead, you'll have to fill in all the mandatory information for this document and you can have it saved and submit. And now let's move towards the second type of contract, which is a quick contract. So as I told you before, I recommend to use quick contract only if the payment terms are 100% in advance, or you can use it in case of the residential customers as well, where maximum times or where most of the times the payment terms are 100% in advance. So let's create a quick contract now. So I'll click on the service module here on the top. I'll click on the service menu and I will click on the quick contract menu here. So once I click on it, it will pull up the page where you can create a quick contract. So now, unlike the normal contract which we saw earlier, this page is So unlike the contract which we created earlier, in quick contract it gives you an option to create a new customer here on the same screen. So if there is a customer for which you want to create a contract and you haven't created a customer yet, so you can simply click on the new customer button. So it will bring a pop-up screen in front of you. You just have to fill in all this information and you can click on go. So that will create a new customer here. And if you want to create a contract for an existing customer, you can simply type in their name. So let's say Rahul. So I have this customer here. I'll fill in all the remaining information, same as we did in the contract. So I can see the branch and the salesperson is already mapped for this customer. I'll select the approver name from the list, the contract group, whether it is going to be an AMC contract or a single service. So let's say it's an AMC contract. It's a residential customer. Okay, the contract start date. So I'll select today's date. I can have the number range as well. So let's say this contract is being created under my Mumbai branch. It's an option. So I'll select the Mumbai option here. Then the payment method. So this is an option as well. So if you know the way the customer is going to pay you, you can select it here or you can keep it blank as well. And same as we saw in contract, the lead ID, quotation ID and the reference number are the same. You can also assign a technician to this contract. Next, is the description. So you can type any additional information here in quick contract. So next is the description section. So next is the description section. Here you can type in an additional information that you want to provide. It will get printed on the contract PDF. Next is the documents. It is same as we have seen earlier. You can upload the document for the terms and conditions which are applicable for this contract. Next is the product details. So I'll give the product details here. So let's say it's a bed bug service yearly. I'll click on add. Okay, so in an year of a contract, so in a contract with the duration of 365 days, I'm going to provide them 3 services for 3,000 rupees. So let's check with the taxes once. Okay, so the taxes are correct. I can see here the taxes added to the 3,000, which makes the total payable amount of 3,540. And unlike the contract option, you will not find the payment term details here, because by default quick contract assumes that this contract is under 100% of the advance payment term. So now I have all the necessary and mandatory information filled in required to save a quick contract. I'll simply click on the save button here on the top. So data saved successfully. So we have created a quick contract as well. We just have to check the print once before we submit the contract. So let's click on no. Okay, so this is the contract. You can review it. If there are any changes which you think needed to be done on this contract, you can simply edit this document before submitting it. And once I submit it, it becomes the final contract. So this is how you create contract in EVA ERP. Thank you for watching the videos.